Let's bring in criminal and human rights lawyer William Julié. William, thank you for joining us. How big a role did international pressure play in France's change of heart here?
I think the international pressure, of course, has been very useful here to get these children and mothers back from Syria. You just mentioned it. France has been sentenced by a UN committee on the rights of children. It has been said very clearly that France was violating the Convention of the UN on child's rights and the superior interest of children at stake here. On top of that, I also think that the fact that many applications have been brought before the French courts, asking the courts to order the French government to repatriate these children, these applications have not been a success. Contrary actually to, for example, what has been the case in Germany, where these applications have succeeded sometimes. And as a result, the requesting parties have applied before the European Court of Human Rights, launched several applications asking the condemnation of France, and decisions are expected in the months coming. So I do think that maybe this move is also a preventive move in advance of these ECHR decisions to come shortly.
So talk us through the process of what happens next for these families. Many of these mothers and children are going to be separated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the big change here in French policy is that they are not only now bringing back on what they call the case-by-case basis some children, requesting that they are separated from their mothers who have not been repatriated. The difference here is that they are bringing back the children with their mothers. Then this does not mean that the families are going to be united once they arrive in France, because what is supposed to happen is that the mothers are going to be arrested and prosecuted, eventually incarcerated pending investigations and waiting for trials to take place. And the children are going to be placed in foster families pending these prosecutions to take place. But at least the families are back in France, and eventually also these mothers will not be incarcerated or will be placed under judicial supervision, and eventually also will be allowed at one point to get their children back.
Well, I guess the question is there any plan for them after incarceration? Could they be reintegrated into society? And if so, how would that work?
Listen, I mean, hopefully, yes, they will be reintegrated. I read recently that in Belgium, the authorities had requested as a condition to bring the mothers back that they express regrets about their involvement at the time, if they had any involvement in jihadism, and also that they had to make some kind of plea that they had renounced to any kind of involvement in jihadism. So we'll see how the French judicial system deals with these women, but obviously what they are going to say when they are interrogated and what they are going to explain regarding what happened to them is going to weigh in the decisions to allow them not to be incarcerated, as I said, but also maybe to be allowed to get their children back.
William, thank you for taking the time to speak to us. So William Julié there, a criminal and human rights lawyer.
Thank you for inviting me.